Hey guys, SGT here, and guess what? I have a special treat. I've got Andy Hoffman, that's Ranting Andy, on the line, and he's joined Miles Franklin as the new Director of Marketing. Andy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
Well, tell me about what's going on in your life. You know, I was reading a piece that you sent me today, and you were talking about the global economy and comparing it to the train at the end of Back to the Future 3, careening down the track at 88 miles per hour en route to its inevitable crash.
Yeah, absolutely. As to your question about my life, as you know, I've been writing about these very topics for 5+ years, but I just joined Miles Franklin this week. I'm going to be working solely with bullion. I believe that is the safest way to protect yourself from what's going forward. As I've seen the train wreck unfold, I've realized that it's more important to protect what you have, because I think the world is going to get a lot more difficult in the coming years. And as for the train wreck itself, yes, I mean, you're very well aware of the same things I am. There's problems with the banking systems across the globe. It's not just the States, it's Europe, it's Japan, which, again, you see another intervention to the currency markets. And I think people will be very surprised to realize that even the eastern areas, such as China and some of the other places that are considered immune, are not going to be immune from the debt and currency malaise that's quickly spreading.
There's just so much going on. Here's what I know. The takeaway for me, and I know that you'll agree, is that as long as central banks continue to debase these currencies, and as long as there's a race to the bottom so that everybody can cheapen their currency and keep exporting goods, the safest, most sensible, and only intelligent place to be is in physical precious metals. Is that true? Do I have that right?
Absolutely, and it's funny because the whole concept of currency devaluation is taking a back seat now to the front seat issue of the fact that these countries are actually going bankrupt. And I almost don't even look at the exchange rates anymore. Yes, it's interesting to see the yen fall by 4% in about 2 minutes, but for the most part, like, who cares what the yen the rate is against the dollar or what the dollar is against the euro? They're all going bankrupt at the same pace right now. People say, how do you write so much? And I say, how do I not write so much? I mean, I'm just building up a list of terrible things going on an hourly basis. Now Italy is back in the news today. All of a sudden it's not reacting as well as people thought to this bailout strategy. Its bond spreads are exploding. All the French bank stocks are down 10% because of their exposure to Italy. Then you have this MF Global company led by John Corzine of Goldman Sachs that suddenly went bankrupt practically overnight, and that's having an impact on the liquidity of the markets over here, and worries about contagion of derivatives, and it's really sad what's going on.
Well, you know, when we talk about the pigs, we talk about Portugal, Italy, Greece, Spain. It seems one or the other is always in the news, and right now you're talking about Italy as being a huge problem. And what is the ECB's solution in their infinite wisdom? Tell us this. I think people are going to love this, Andy.
Yeah, well, it's taken me a week just to figure out what exactly they were proposing, because for several weeks we just had hints that something was going to be done, and then suddenly they announced that something was done. But in the big picture, nothing really was done. And I advise everyone to go to Zero Hedge or to my rant and read over or watch the 2-minute video that the guys who did the Bears created, where they explain it. And the fact is, when they talk about leveraging this EFSF fund from $400 million to $1.4 trillion, all that really means is they're going to put in a small part, and they're hoping someone else will come in and put more.
Like the Chinese.
Like the Chinese, who within an hour said, we're not doing it. So the fact is, they have this plan. It's not really a plan at all. They have no funding. I think people are hoping that this G20 meeting this week, or the Fed meeting, which is also this week, will somehow bring this money in. But it just doesn't seem likely. And as I said, it's not just Italian bonds, but essentially all of the stocks and bonds around the world have lost all of the gains that they made since this announcement, basically because I don't think there's really anything resolved. And even the day it was announced, a lot of the bond spreads on sovereigns went higher or widened, meaning people don't believe there's a real solution.
Let me ask you as we bridge back to physical precious metals, because I'm just fascinated by the price of silver. I feel like everybody's getting a substantial discount or a subsidy from the powers that be to be able to buy silver here in the mid-30s or the low 30s. I posted a video last night on our site called "What is the Real U.S. Debt?" and it had these handy bar charts in it. And when you look at the bar chart and you see the total GDP of our country and the total GDP of the EU, and you take a look at the total debt, including unfunded obligations of the United States government, of $60 trillion, and Lawrence Kotlikoff would tell you that it's $200 trillion. It just becomes real clear in a system that is crashing, that is going to continue to crash because there is no way out short of money printing, that over time silver and gold is the right place to be, and it's got to go much, 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 much higher.
Yeah, well, the biggest obstacle, obviously the biggest obstacle to that happening has been this gold cartel, but that's something that's been slowly, they've been slowly losing over time, and at some point soon they will rapidly lose. But it's also a matter of the public in general just not understanding what's going on, and this is something I write about all the time, about how sad it is how society, it's more human nature than the current society that just refuse to see what's in front of their face. Most people don't want to see what's in front of their face. And as for people buying gold and silver, if we have all this record bankruptcy and unemployment, most people don't have anything to buy gold and silver with, and people like that are probably not going to embrace the message that we're giving loud and clear. It's just going to be a trickle-down effect starting from the people most able to make the transition until finally all of society realizes, mostly too late, that this was the only way to protect themselves. This is what human nature has been throughout history. And people like us, the best we could do is try our best to get it to trickle down to as many people as possible before it's too late, because at some point there will be no supply. Certainly not anywhere near these prices.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is that I think something that you are trying to do and something I've been trying to do is I've learned all this over the past 6 years is that to get physical precious metals into the hands of the middle class, to get real money back into the hands of the people, is the one insurance policy you can count on in a world gone mad. So tell me your thoughts a little bit on when I mentioned the government subsidizing the purchases for the people to buy silver at 32, 34, 36. That's a subsidy because, Andy, if it wasn't being manipulated, if it wasn't being crushed by paper to the tune of billions of ounces of paper ounces a week, it could be well over $100 or $200 or $300 an ounce now, couldn't it?
Right. Well, I've had this internal debate many times before, as frustrating as it's been, because I've been 100% invested for 9.5 years now, and I've been through an incredible amount of misery on all fronts fighting them, but it's also, like you said, subsidized and given me the ability to help myself, build precious metals inventory for the future and to help other people as well. The goal here for all of us is in our little shadow world is to help as many people as possible, and thanks to the subsidy, we're able to do it. Of course, if they weren't manipulating, if they had never gone off the gold standard, and certainly if they never created the strong dollar policy in the gold cartel, we would never be in the mess that we're in right now, because obviously the money would not have been allowed to be printed, and we probably wouldn't have gotten off the Glass-Steagall. We probably wouldn't have repealed that, and we probably would have just normal cyclical growth in this country and in the Western world. Unfortunately, the powers that be have had there are many, many negative ramifications for what they've done, and there's no way that they're ever going to be resolved until the whole system comes down and starts over again.
The last time I spoke with David Scheckman, the founder over there at Miles Franklin, he's got a great spin on this, which is it isn't a battle of trying to buy everything you can buy today. It's a battle of trying to get as many ounces as you can get over time. And I think the beautiful thing about this suppression and silver below 40 is that it just gives us all more time. If they can keep silver down in the mid-30s for another year or two, I just want people to realize that is time is on your side there. They're subsidizing your ability to acquire more silver with your paycheck.
The thing that we at Miles Franklin and other bullion dealers try to impress on people is that once you hold a coin in your hand, you realize just how valuable it is. You realize how heavy it is, how shiny it is. You think about what went into it, the blood, sweat, and tears compared to the dollar in your pocket that cost nothing.
Yeah, and how rare it is, because I just know, from personal experience being in the city that I'm in, Andy, I can't go just about anywhere and find it. They don't have it at Target. They don't have it at Walmart. They don't have it at the neighborhood grocery store. They don't have it anywhere. There's a very few select places in town that have physical silver and gold. It's literally rare.
I was telling David the other day, most people go throughout their life never seeing a gold coin, let alone even a silver coin.
If you had to give us a great rant right now, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you had to give us a great rant, we can see what's going on in Libya. We can see how the war machine is now turning around and shining a light on Iran. And we can just see that this imperial system that is spending us into oblivion is hell-bent on keeping us in perpetual war. That's my rant. Do you have a rant before I let you go?
Well, I'll do very quickly that I addressed today that when we saw last week Obama saying that we take the troops out of Iraq, I said, I guarantee we'll put them somewhere else. And sure enough, 6 days later, they've already announced that most of those troops are going to be redeployed in the Middle East so that presumably they could be ready to fight against Iran. But my final rant is just the litany of things that I've been talking about for weeks and months and years, and which I will continue to talk about. The paper system is only going to lose you money, whether you own stocks or bonds or commodity paper forms, or just hold your money in the bank. The only way to truly protect yourself will be precious metals, physical form.
Damn straight. Well, Andy, how do we find you online?
Well, our website is www.milesfranklin.com. The phone number is 800-822-8080, and if you want to reach me, it's ahoffman@milesfranklin.com. All my rants are now going through the Miles Franklin newsletter, which you can subscribe to for free on our website. They will be published daily and probably then some.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Ranting Andy Hoffman with milesfranklin.com. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. All right.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Well, friends, thanks for all your support. Be sure to check out sgtreport.com for all the latest. Good night.